Welcome to our Synthaholics Star Trek Discovery review. I'm your host, David Duncan, and with me is Captain Foley from Trekyards.
Hey
I was
guys.
going to say Captain Stewart. I was like,
Well, Captain Stuart
no.
Foley works, but yeah, Captain Foley is what everybody knows me by. So thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. If you're a fan of the podcast, we've had him back on for episode 10 of Discovery, and that was a whole lot of fun talking about that.
That was awesome.
So with episode with Vaulting Ambition, what did you have any big standout moments that you were hoping for?
Oh, let's see. Yes, this is where I wanted to see the Defiant after seeing the wireframe in the episode earlier, and of course we didn't get that. But I mean, I should have expected that, but I was really hoping against hope that we were going to see it, the Prime Universe Defiant.
I would have loved to see the prime. They teased it in the wireframe, so I was hoping they were just trying to like, oh look, here's kind of it, and we'll show it to you for real later. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I was hoping. And there's a couple things I was hoping. Oh, there's another big thing I was hoping against hope for in this episode as well. My hope against hope was that somehow after all the last two episodes, all the Nero Lorca hints they were dropping and all those weird smiles they were cutting to, I was hoping against hope that somehow he would still be our Lorca.
Uh, Me too. I love Lorca. I got a little bromance with him.
Oh, me too.
I think he makes a great captain. I mean, he's not really, typical Starfleet captain, but I really liked his attitude and his vibe. He was kind of right up there with Cisco, in my opinion, kind of a more tactical, more gruff kind of captain when he needs to be. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And the thing is, they held out to the very end of that episode too, where
Yeah.
he's like in the booth and he's like, "I don't know who your sister is." Like I was like, "Oh, come on, just." I mean, if you're faking being Mira Lorca, you really wouldn't know, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was so upset they held you out to the very end before he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm bad." I'm like,
Yeah, I did an eye roll too. I'm like, ugh. Seen it coming a mile away, but really didn't want it.
I really
Hoping,
didn't want it to. Yeah, I was the exact same way.
yeah, hoping to avoid that for sure.
And one of the things that kind of struck me odd about the episode is that in the previous episode, the Chiron had opened fire on the planet,
Hmm.
but yet they're jumping to it in a shuttlecraft.
Yes, at the beginning of the episode, it was actually 27 million miles away, which they needed to use a shuttle at warp to get to. Yeah, that bugged me too. And I mean, that's one of the problems that we've had with Discovery so far is they don't explain little things like that. Like, yeah, there's a ship there. Oh, well, what is it? We can't see it. And all of a sudden the planet gets bombarded. It's
Why?
like, yeah, exactly. Was it the Empress's ship that did it, or was it one of her escort ships maybe that was closer to the planet that did it, and she was sitting back, kind of watching? I don't know, but that doesn't make sense to me.
They
27 million kilometers away.
they didn't explain it, and it's just although they're jumping, and I'm like, oh, okay, why didn't they just beam over? I thought they were just there last episode.
Plot convenience, script writing. We need to have a discussion before we get there, and a transporter room walk is not enough, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, don't get me started on plot convenience. It's like well in episode 14 it's like, oh, we destroyed all the spores last episode, so we get to have a whole episode making new spores. I'm like,
Hmm.
so you basically killed all the spores to waste an episode making new spores instead of actually advancing the story.
Yes. Yeah, I've got a few problems with the script writing. I mean, at moments it's brilliant. I mean, there are some moments where the dialogue is just spot on, awesome, great character development in a certain scene or a certain episode, and then, like I said, a lot of the main plot points or things we're really interested in just get glazed over. Like the planet Pavo, it was really focused on in that first episode about the life forms there and how they didn't want conflict. And then episode 2 shows up and all they're doing is fighting above Pavo. You never hear from those aliens again. Nothing, no reference, anything. I think that was a missed opportunity that they do a lot of that in this show. They introduce something and never see it through.
Yeah, I was expecting them like to shoot some beam out of their giant crystal stalk or something, like put a shield between the two ships or something, something.
Yeah, and they kind of had an Organian vibe, like the
Oh,
Organians
very
didn't
much
want.
so.
And I thought there was going to be some kind of tie in that way, and no, just nothing. It's like, you're doing this to frustrate us, or are you just doing this because you have bad writers? Or are you doing this because it's just the way this overarching story is going? Like it bugs me to no end. Because as I said before, if this was episodic television, all that would be wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow. It would
Sure.
all be answered.
Yeah.
But no, they're just jumping to the next plot point and then using throwaway lines of dialogue to explain something that we've been really wondering about. Like what happened to the ISS Discovery when it went to the Prime Universe? What was it doing? Oh, it just got destroyed by Klingons.
It got destroyed by Klingons. Captain Killy. She should have been the one turning the tide in the war.
Well, and as me and Samuel said in our review, Samuel said, he said, all it takes is to add to that line of dialogue. The Discovery was destroyed after taking out 15 Klingon warships.
Oh, yeah.
Showing that she put up a hell of a fight. That few little words of dialogue put into the sentence would have made it so much better and so much more fleshed out.
I completely agree with that sentiment. And, people have come on in some of our comments and said, oh, you guys hate Discovery. I'm like, we've never said, not once, that we hate Discovery. I love Discovery. It is easily the most solid first season of any Star Trek series ever.
Absolutely.
That being said, as YouTube reviewers, as podcast reviewers, we have the right and the privilege and, the
duty
to analyze things and to be critical when we feel like we need to be critical. Just because we're critical on something does not mean that we dislike it.
Yeah.
It just means that certain things could have been done better.
Yeah. And there's good and bad in every episode. We point that out. There's good and bad in every series of Star Trek and every episode of those series of Star Trek. And that's one thing at Trekyards that we like to do is just make sure that we point out the good and bad in everything. Even if it's something we absolutely love, it's not perfect. So, and just because we're say one or two negative things in a review, we get the same thing in our comments. Oh, you absolutely hate Discovery. Have you been paying attention? Because no, we don't.
Like I've even got out of the way of saying most of my issue with Discovery isn't Discovery. It's the writers and the producers, the showrunners who are like, oh, look, we're giving you a Klingon War series. But no, the series was really about Lorca getting back to the mirror universe. And then, oh, there's a war in the background, which is now in the foreground since Lorca's dead.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just the expectations they were setting just didn't get met in my mind. And so I just wish the writers and showrunners would just not say anything or just tell us the truth and not give us much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, because I mean, that's what's driving me most crazy. I think about Star Trek Discovery is that they say these things, and I'm like, okay, so I'm expecting this, and this to happen, and then it's like they do a 180, and all this other stuff happens, and I'm like, what? But what about? They said the second half of season 1's supposed to get back to a more TOS vibe, and I still haven't seen it yet. We only got one episode left.
Well, I got to say, as far as TOS vibe goes, the sound effects are spot on. They're using original series sound effects to great use, but yeah, they're supposed to get back to a more visual look, they said, and just more feel, and it's just I'm not getting that yet. So,
well, the only thing that kind of was a little bit more TOS-y was in episode 9 when Lorca made a video call to Admiral Terrell, and it wasn't a hologram.
Yes,
I was like, that's weird. They're not using holograms. And then they haven't done that since. They've gone back to holograms.
Exactly, yeah, which costs more money to do. Visually effects, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, but Trekyards, you guys are mostly really big into ships. So,
yeah.
The Charon, what was your thoughts the first time the Charon popped up on screen?
Not impressed. As I said, I think it's a cool design for like a game like Mass Effect or a video game of some kind, or even an alien
Mass Effect-y.
Yeah, or even a TNG Alien Ship of the Week. Kind of have like a mini Dyson sphere kind of thing going on with the sun, providing heat. Even though we found out it's a mycelium thing. It's
a mycelium ball of fire. I actually messaged you like as the episode ended. I was like, "Was that a Dyson sphere? Was that a sun?"
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think it was big enough. But they've had problems with scaling. I'm not a fan of the Charon. It doesn't look like anything Starfleet, even in the Terran Empire, would create. So yeah, I wasn't impressed. But as we heard when we spoke with John Eves, as he was posting on Facebook, him and I think Scott was the other guy that created it with him. I can't remember the guy's last name. But they were specifically asked for that. The ship was supposed to look like that. It has a very specific reason for it, and we found out what that was later on, of course, to help get them home. Which Samuel and myself had speculated that maybe the ship looks that way because they're going to have to implode that sun and create a singularity to get home, kind of thing. Almost the same thing happened. So it was a plot-driven ship, and Johnny has even said that he's like, we had to design it to their specifications, and that's what we got. That's what we got for you. So
Yeah, I enjoyed your video on it, and I think you guys showed me the first view of it from like that side back angle. It almost looks like a weird spiny lizard all like curled up.
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, it's a cool design, but it just doesn't strike me as anything Star Trek.
yeah, exactly.
And speaking of how the throne room, like what you see, it's got that like the palace on top, right?
Yes.
And so you'd think the throne room would be at the top of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's in the basement because there's a door directly to the ball.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. And then later, when Discovery attacks, and shoots the throne room, they're hitting the top of the ship. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all logistically.
Oh, poor
Just
Sharon.
small little things. I guess that's like a wormhole hole in the floor. I don't.
Artificial wormhole. Stamets, get on it.
Yes. And then, oh, poor Stamets.
Oh man.
Yeah, because wasn't this the episode 12 where Hugh gets killed?
No, he died in episode 10.
Are you sure?
They beamed over to the it was the first one because they killed him and he beamed over to Michael and Lorca beamed over
Yeah.
to
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
the ISS Shinzo.
Yes,
So
yes,
it was
you're right.
episode 10.
Yeah. But yeah.
And Hugh died and then we get to see him again next episode.
Yes, we do, which is cool. I love that little tie-in and how he kind of warns Stamets against the other Stamets, and how that Stamets deserves what's happening to him because he's using the mycelium network for his own good. So
Yeah, that's true. So vaulting ambition. I thought Emperor Giorgio was a fun drawback. Except I just feel like Discovery was trying so hard to make everything an emotional crutch, or for Michael, like everything's going against her emotionally.
mm-hmm.
And to me, that was getting a little hard to believe. I would have loved to have seen Harry Mudd be the Emperor, just because I think it would have been hilarious.
That would have been kind of cool, actually. Yeah. But no, I had a feeling that it was going to be Giorgio. We kind of speculated that too.
Sure. I mean, the way the show's been going, it makes sense to be Giorgio. But I was just kind of hoping because it's just too convenient for her to be emotionally crushed.
Yeah. Yeah, in both universes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting the way they went, and again, her character development is actually going really well. I didn't like Burnham from the beginning. I was still not a huge fan of her, but the last few episodes have kind of really helped me relate a little bit more to her, and I'm really starting to enjoy her character a little bit more. So,
Yeah. She's still not my favorite character. Lorca was by far my favorite character, and I really love Stamets, and I really love Tilly. The Pavin episode made me hate Saru. I'm starting to like Saru a little bit more now.
same here. Yeah,
But the Pavin episode, come on, Saru.
yeah. I hear you. I totally agree with you. Tilly's like my favorite character, but I might have ulterior motives for that. And Stamets is by far my favorite character, right beside Lorca, because I really enjoyed those two. And Stamets still, even though he's been kind of a dick since the beginning, I've really liked him. I liked his attitude. I don't know why I like that. I mean, that's the same way Lorca was, but I like the way that even Stamets and Lorca interacted with each other.
Sure.
Stamets didn't take crap from Lorca and kind of told him how it was, which I thought was great. It was a great connection they had. So yeah, I agree with you on those characters. Saru is starting to win points back for me, but yeah, he started out really strong as being my favorite character in the first 2 episodes, and then just kind of went slowly down. Now he's coming back up again.
But that Pavin episode was a deep drop because it just
it was.
Oh yeah, they didn't make me do that. I did that on my own. How are you in Starfleet?
Oh, that happens a lot with characters. Why are you here?
How are you in Starfleet? You like, we're horrible to Michael because she shrugged responsibilities, and now you're like, oh, I'm just gonna like be a hippie on this like blue planet. Never give anyone your communicators.
Right? Yeah, give me those. I saw that coming a mile away too.
I feel like every single time in Star Trek someone's asked for the communicators, they've either been crushed or destroyed in some other way.
Yeah.
Like post haste.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So Michael's big turning point in this was basically she gets found out. Her playing Michael in Mirror Universe was bad idea because Emperor reveals to her that, oh yeah, you were trying to kill me. Not just Lorca.
You were my daughter. You and Lorca took off together. Yeah. It was, and this is also where we get the realization that Lorca was actually the Empress's like right-hand man. He was in on all the shenanigans that she was doing. So he was, he was up there at the top, which was interesting because I didn't really expect that. I expected him to be more on the rebel side, kind of fighting against the Emperor. Which he was at the end, I guess, but I didn't expect him to be one of the inside guys that kind of turned on her. But I thought that was a great twist, so I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was an interesting reveal, although it really dashed my hopes because I was really hoping on the Giorgio Burnham lover thing. Since they just killed Culber, I was like, that would be a weird twist. I guess the parent thing's emotional too, but it's not the same as like, oh, we're lovers in this universe. Oh, you know all these secrets about me because we are lovers in this universe. That would have been so like much more mentally debilitating, I think, than the parent thing again.
Yeah. But but in hindsight, looking back at what happens in later episodes, it's kind of neat to have the father figure and the mother figure thing going on. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thematically it makes sense later, but I was really kind of hoping for that because I think I would have been, if you're gonna go all in for being devastating, making her lover would have been like a whole new twist to that level of devastating.
Absolutely. Now this one thing I want to point out too. This is the episode that ended like 6 minutes early for me because we in Canada we have it on network TV. We have it on the Space Channel, and it was literally 7 minutes of runtime left in the hour, and we get credits. This was a short episode, and I hate that they do that because they can. Because it's not made for network TV. So some episodes are quite a bit longer, some are like shorter. This one was one of the short ones, and I was just waiting for what happened next because the last thing we saw was Lorca stomp that guy.
Oh yeah.
And then it's commercial for me, and then credits. And it's like, no, wait a minute. There's still 7 minutes left. What happened? So that was kind of irritating.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, one of my complaints about Discovery, because it is mostly on a streaming platform, all access in America, and Netflix everywhere else in the world outside of US and Canada, take advantage of it. Do like hour-long episodes, hour and 10 minutes. Like, you've got all this time. There's literally zero excuse for them not to explain things better because sake of time. Because they can make the episodes as long as they need to be.
Yeah. Which I'm wondering, is the last episode going to be a little bit longer? Because there's a lot of stuff they got to cram into that. But
oh my gosh, I totally agree. The last episode, I cannot see how they're going to finish it in 45 minutes. Especially since in the preview for the next episode, they're showing like some kind of like sex party or strip club thing that they're going to. I'm like, how is there time to go to have fun when you're supposed to be ending the Klingon war?
Oh, we'll have to see.
Because even if the whole episode was them just trying to end the Klingon War, like, just because you hold Kronos hostage doesn't mean that people are gonna
Yeah.
stop fighting. Especially if, like, like Aaron's speculating, they might just go full on destroy it. And if they full on destroy it, that would definitely mean we're in a different timeline.
Until they go back and reset the timeline, which they're going to have to do. They're going to have to, because nothing in this Discovery show lines up with anything in Prime Timeline.
That's what I've been saying, and that's a lot of my complaints about the show. But I'm like, if maybe they just were lying that it was Prime. Maybe it's a third timeline, and honestly, that would give them so much more freedom.
Mm-hmm. And we wouldn't complain as much.
I would not complain as much either. It'd be like, okay, it's a new universe; they can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
and that would be so much fun. But they keep on saying, "Oh no, we're Prime," but they keep violating canon left and right, and I'm just like, what? But then they'll like dangle, oh look, Discovery. I mean, I'm like, oh look, Archer and XL1. This is canon.
Yeah. Look, a Defiant wireframe that sort of looks like it, but we changed some things on it so it doesn't look like it. So you're going to wonder what it looks like, and you never get to see it. Ha ha! Bastards! Yes.
Con!
CBS! Yeah.
The writer team! Good gosh.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, Vaulting Ambition is probably one of my favorite episodes of the season, probably. Even with some of the weird issues. Probably like in top 5 for me. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, yeah, I would totally agree with that. The Mirror Universe episodes are up there for sure. The very first one,
except for Wolf in the Fold.
Well,
I didn't like that one a lot. It just felt like filler to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd have to go back and look at my other notes on the other ones to see where the rankings actually are. But yeah, this was definitely up there for sure. The reveal of Lorca is just, I love it and I hate it at the same time.
I felt the same way. It was fun because Jason Isaacs just does such a good job. So it's really hard for me to like hate it all the way because Jason Isaacs is just so good.
Mm-hmm. But I'd like to see him as a Starfleet captain. And even in the episode 14, where Admiral Cornwall finds out that he's dead, she goes, the Lorca I came up with was a very measured man and blah, 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 which I want to see that. I want to see that Gabriel Lorca. I know there's a novel out there right now that just got released that has him and Giorgio working together.
It's not the same.
I know it's not. I know, but I still have hope that we're going to see Prime Lorca. I don't think he's dead.
I hope he's not dead. Although if he switched places with Mira Lorca, it doesn't look good for him health-wise.
No, but that's what they're going to throw us a curveball like that. He's going to show up to save the day. All of a sudden, we're going to be like, we didn't see that coming, but we did. So
we can only hope.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Stuart, for joining me for this fun sort of talk about vaulting emissions and almost everything else Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, not a problem. I really enjoy coming on and talking to you guys. You guys are awesome. So,
well, thank you so much. Where can we find you guys on social media?
You can go to YouTube and just type in Trekyards. Find us there. We've got over 300 episodes, so a lot to check out. Or you can go onto Facebook and join the Trekyards Facebook group. And we're also on Twitter and Instagram and all that. But yeah, just check it out. Just type in Trekyards, you'll find us.
Oh yeah, YouTube's definitely where they're at. They got so much great content. I actually started watching them with the saucer separation videos. It just kind of came up in my feed one day, and I was like, "That's so cool!" I didn't realize Klingons ejected their necks out for
the
separation.
Yeah,
that's what got me hooked on Trekyards. So
awesome.
They do great work, guys. So go check them out for sure.
Thanks.
And as far as we go, you're already here on our YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/group/Synthaholics. And on the Twitters, we're at Synthaholic Duo. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Live long and prosper, guys.
Bye.